Hello everyone, welcome again. Today we are going to talk about HTTP HTTPS concepts. This is the part 1 of the series. So today we are going to talk about we'll start with the introduction, then we'll briefly talk about the HTTP protocol, then we are going to talk about the URL, then we'll move on to the request. So HTTP request format we are going to understand and the response format as well. Let's move on. Before we start the actual discussion about the topics, I would request you guys to please like this video and share to the people who you feel that would get benefited from this video or the knowledge. So do share, and I hope you have already subscribed. If not, please subscribe to the channel also. A quick introduction about myself. I am Jitin Chadha. I am founding director at Perfeasy Enterprises Private Limited. I have around 15 years of experience in performance and security testing. I have built and managed multiple performance testing COEs. I have worked as test engineer, technical manager, performance analyst in like multiple technologies, multiple domains like content publishing, m-commerce, e-commerce, insurance, logistics, and a lot more. I have like my experience, like I have more than 140 plus project like from security as well as performance testing. I have worked with multiple clients from across the globe like Adobe, BNB Paribas, Blue Yonder, Scholastic, Aon, Cemex, and a lot more. A quick brief about the certifications that I have. I have HP LoadRunner AIS. I have also completed IBM Certified Solution Designer. This is for rational performance tester. I have also done IBM Certified Specialist Rational App Scan and for Rational Robo. Let's move on to the topic. So first is communication protocol. So I'm just going to brief about some application and the corresponding communication protocol that is used. Communication protocol is the protocol let's understand what is protocol first. So protocol is a set of rule. So if we talk about the English term protocol, this is about set of rules. So protocol can be for anything, but here we are talking about communication protocol in applications on internet, I would say, or World Wide Web. So here, for example, there are some applications which use emails. So for that, we require SMTP or Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Remote terminal access is worked using Telnet. For file transfer, we use FTP, which is File Transfer Protocol. For flex-based applications, we use AMF protocol or which is Action Message Format. For web and mobile apps, HTTP, HTTPS protocol is very prevalent. So this is what we keep on seeing whenever we are accessing a web application from our browser. In at the backend, the protocol used is HTTP or HTTPS. So, but today in this session, we are going to focus on HTTP or HTTPS protocol. So, HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is an application layer protocol and it works on client server model. When we say client, so what is a client? Client can be a web browser like Chrome. It can be a mobile device. If it is native app, so device is the client. If it is like on mobile also, if we are using through a browser, so that browser can become a client. Uh, Safari can be a client, and the server is a web server or an app server, which resides on maybe a cloud infrastructure or a shared infrastructure or physical servers that are set up by some organization on its own. So this is how the interaction between the client and the server would happen. So this the set of rules defined to communicate between these two entities is called protocol, and here we are going to talk about HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So this image represented very simply, like this is a PC running Firefox or a Chrome or any other browser, and it sends an HTTP request. The request starts or the communication starts here. So first, the client has to send a request which is in HTTP format. Based on the request, the server would respond with an response in the specified HTTP response format. Similarly, another Mac machine which is using Safari will also send a request, and so there may be parallel requests that this web server has to cater to and respond accordingly. Let's move on. Okay, so first question is as a performance tester. So here this is a performance and security testing academy. So the here the videos are expected to be related to performance testing. So why a performance tester needs to learn HTTP concepts? First, there are more opportunity when we talk about HTTP, as this is the most used protocol on internet. Applications with high user load are built on HTTP. So as a performance tester, the from a client's perspective or a business perspective, they would like to put money on that application which is going to be used by a higher number of users. So the and the application which are consumed by higher number of users are mostly built using HTTP or HTTPS protocol. As we like nowadays see that web and mobile app, almost all the web as well as mobile applications use HTTP protocol only. APIs, web services, microservices, these are also most of them are working on HTTP or HTTPS protocol only. And if as a performance tester, if I have good HTTP concepts, knowledge about HTTP concepts, then I will be able to create my scripts faster. My creation of scripts, the quality of my scripts will be very better. And as I would know more, so my chances of getting selected in an interview and landing a better job are also higher. Why this is higher? Because in, for example, a JMeter or a load runner or Neoload or any performance testing tool, uh, s- there what we are doing, we record the server calls, these API calls or the HTML calls, sorry, HTTP calls or those only calls we record. So if we understand those request and response in a better way, we will be able to customize those in a faster and most more efficient way. So that is why our quality as well as speed would be higher, and we will become a better performance tester. So from a testing perspective, if the less time we are spending on the load test script preparation, more time we can devote to analysis of the results, more time we can devote to identifying the proper bottlenecks, monitoring the servers, like adding some profilers and profiling on the maybe code level, database level. So that is where the growth would happen. And if we are having good knowledge about HTTP, our scripting time will be lesser and more effort is spent on the next level of our knowledge. First, in the HTTP, I am going to talk about URLs. What is a URL? URL is Uniform Resource Locator. It is used to specify addresses on the World Wide Web. Address of what? Address of a particular resource. So, for example, if I want to send a letter to a particular person, I have to know his address, his physical address. Then only I can send an letter. So here also every resource, every image, every JavaScript. What is a resource here? Resource can be an image, resource can be a JavaScript, it can be a code file, for example, a code written in PHP or .NET or Java. It can be a style sheet also. So every resource, every object has to have a unique identification with using which that can be located on the World Wide Web or on the internet. So that is why this is uh, URL helps us to locate a resource on the World Wide Web. Now, the important thing to understand as a performance tester is the format of the URL. The format is first step, we would see the protocol. Here, like we are talking about HTTP, HTTPS, so it would be HTTP or HTTPS. Then colon double slash, these are separators. Then we should have domain. Domain is going to specify the server, which server we need to hit. Then the path. On that server, where is the location or where is my object present? Then on that path, which resource we need to access or for which this request is sent. Then you see a question mark. Whatever is on the right side of this question mark is called as query string. So developers use this query string to send some data onto the server from the browser without using the body of the request. Here everything will go in the like query string will be part of the URL. So if a developer wants to send some data, he can use query string to send the data. Let us see some examples. So I am taking parallel two examples. One example is for HTTP protocol and the bottom one is for HTTPS protocol. So protocols, then this same separator colon double slash. Then the first one says jobskibaat.com and second one is www.example.com. Here there can be some IP address also if we haven't like bought a domain name. So a server can also be identified with an IP address as well. So this is saying which server to hit. Hit the server for jobskibaat.com and this jobskibaat would have a DNS entry and it would be converted into an IP address itself. Next, so this what is this saying? Protocol HTTP, then domain is jobskibaat or example.com. Then we need a path. In the jobs ke baad, the path is slash job. On the jobs ke baad folder, in the jobs ke baad server, there is a folder named jobs where we have to find some resource. In this example.com server, there is a folder slash with the name images where our resource is present. Now the question is which resource we need to fetch. For jobs ke baad, go to jobs ke baad server, go inside job folder and fetch me index.php file. This is the meaning of this line or this URL. In the second one, what I am saying, I am using HTTPS protocol. I have to hit or I have to fetch the resource from www.example.com. From this server, go to images folder and fetch me logo.jpg. Then this is an example of query string. If we also want to send some data, so first one is a dynamic page which requires some input parameters also so that proper response can be given, but an image doesn't require any parameter, so there is no query string present. So a URL may have a query string or may not have a query string as well. So here the first one is saying question mark. Then we are passing two parameters. One parameter is cat ID, category ID, and the value is 5. Ampersand is a separator used to separate two variables inside query string. For URL, the separator was slash or this colon double slash, but for query string, the separator is ampersand. So the content left from ampersand is variable 1 and value. After ampersand, this is variable 2 which is SID and this is the value for SID. So server will get this and will process accordingly and send us the response for index.jsp for category ID 5. Let us move. Now let's talk about HTTP request format. In the HTTP request, if I divide the HTTP request, there are two parts to it. One is header, request header, and second is request body. Similarly, we'll see in the response also, there is one response header and one response body. First, let's focus on the request header and request body. Starting with request header, the first line of the request header would contain three values. First is the method, request method. Second one is the URL and third one is the version. Method can be get, post, delete, put. There are multiple methods. This one is part one of that session. So we are going to discuss about these request methods in part two of this series. So do check out our next video that will be available very soon. So we are going to talk about these in detail in the next session. But right now, we are going to talk about the format itself. So method, URL, and the version. Version will be for HTTP. Right now we are talking about HTTP. So which version of HTTP is being used by our browser? So that is the version it is going to send. Here, if you see an example, method can be post or there are other methods also, but most used or where we are going to work very extensively are these two protocols, post as well as get. So here what it is saying, method is post, space in between is the separator, so which says ki next thing is started. So post is a method, URL is test slash skform skillform dot php, this is the name, and HTTP 1.1 is the version of the HTTP which is used. Hello, here second one is a get method with URL is img slash logo.jpg and the HTTP version is 1.0. Moving on, what is the other thing that are contained in header? Header would contain multiple header fields also. So here we would see request header 1, request header 2 with correspondingly colon separated values. So there can be multiple header depending on what is the configuration done from the server side or the development team. So based on that, the headers are passed. I am showing a few example of the headers, like first is host. So here if we remember na, in the URL, we had a domain name, the path, and then the resource name. So here, but in this URL, we missed that domain. So there is a header field host, which is going to tell us which server to hit. So abc.com slash test slash escapeform.php makes this request complete. Accept is one of the header. So this is saying the browser is sending this request, so information will be from browser side. So this browser can accept text slash HTML type of response. Accept language is the language that is expected from the server is ENUS. Cookies, these are already present for this domain, so this is also being sent. If modified is, this is the modified date time for the object or the resource. Get would also contain almost similar or I would say same header fields as there were in post, so there will not be much of a difference. Now the only difference would come is in the body of the request. So header, I hope is okay. That method, URL, version separated by space, and then there will be header fields. Body. So for post and put, although technically there is no restriction or there is no documentation which says that you cannot send the body with any of the methods, but from practical utilization, put and post are the two types of request format or request method which would contain the request body. Otherwise, get will not contain any request body. For example, I was filling SK form, which is a skill form. So here there were, let's say, four fields that were there. So first field was name. Name is Jitin. I filled organization. I filled as per Fizi. Experience. I have around 15 years, and the skill is performance. So the information that I filled on that form will be passed as part of the body of the request, body of the post request. In case of get, there will not be any body present in the get request. If the body is there, it would definitely be a post request, not a get request. Moving on to response. Here also we would have header and body. This will be response header and response body. Here, the for first line majorly is very different. So earlier, what we had was method, URL, and the version of HTTP. Here, First entry would be for version of the HTTP. Then there will be status code. Status code can be 200 series 302, 303, 304 not modified, or there can be 400 series not invalid request, or 403, sorry, unauthorized request, or forbidden error. There can be 500 where server not found. Those kind of status code would be there. We are going to discuss in the part 2 the status code as well as the request methods. So an example would be, this is the first version, HTTP 1.0 or 1.1. Then status code here is 200, and message for status. So these two things are related, status code and status message. The 200, okay, for let's say 403 would contain 403 forbidden. There the message would be that. So these are fixed numbers for code and message. Here again we will have some header fields. Here response header field, response header 2, response header 3. So there can be multiple n number of response headers. Some example is content encoding gzip. So one thing we need to understand is, when we are sending the request, the header fields would contain the information of the browser. When we are getting the response would contain, or the header fields of the response would contain the information about the server. So here the server is saying that content encoding is gzip. What does that mean? The content that is sent by the server in the response is encrypted or encoded, not encrypted, it is encrypted, encoded using gzip format. So the browser would know that this is a gzip format, and it has to decode before displaying or using that file. And the length of the content, length of the response is 342 bytes. Referrer from where this request was sent is abc.com, and date says the request, sorry, the resource that I am sending has the date 8 Jan. This date is the last modified date for that object or for that resource. Next, we would contain the response body. Here, uh, so these are related with the request only. Based on what type of request we have sent, the response would appear. So here, accept head type of request, or the uh, if we are sending post method, like we are sending the request using post method or the get method or put or delete everything. So we expect a response body. But for head type of request, the response body will not be there, because that is expected to reply with only header of the response. So here I have, so my, for assume my request was for HTML page. So in the response, I have just copied a small snippet of the HTML document, which is present in the response of the page for my uh, request, HTML request. So this was a brief about the HTTP response also. Let me just do a quick recap before we look and go to a browser and see, practically see the request, response, or the URLs format, etc. So first we spoke about HTTP concept, which is like hypertext transfer protocol. It runs on client server architecture, where the client is going to initiate the request to the server. Based on the request, the server is going to process. When we say process, processing can happen on the web server itself. It may require some application server processing, may require a database call, or may require a middleware also, whatever, depending on whatever architecture we are using. So once the complete response is ready, the server would send HTTP response to the client back. Next, we spoke about URL, format of the URL. Format will be protocol, that is HTTP or HTTPS colon double slash, which is a separator. Then domain or the server name, we use like jobskibat.com. Then path will be on the server if there is any folder where the resource is saved, so that path is required. Then specific for after slash resource name or the resource like with extension, I would say, like index.php or logo.jpg, image.bg.gif, whatever resource we want. And if there are some situations where the dynamic pages are to be displayed and it requires some input also, so that input can be sent using query string, and query string comes after question mark. So question mark is the separator. Right side of everything on the right of question mark is query string, and the query string would have separator as ampersand. Next, we spoke about request and the response format. Both request and response would contain headers. The first line vary. For the request, we will have the request method, then we will have the URL and version of the HTTP, and then the header fields plus the body of the request. If it is a post request, there will be a body. If it is a put request, there will definitely be some body. If it is a get request, there will not be anybody, or there is head request also, so there may or may not be anybody. Next was a response. Response also contains the response header and response body. Header same, so the first line varies, where the first line is, first step is version, HTTP 1.1 for example. Then the status code can be 200, 201, 203, 302 status codes, redirect, and those status code. And then there will be header fields, and depending on what request we had sent, if this was not a head request, we are definitely expecting a response. If I had sent a request for JavaScript, the response is expected to contain the JS file. If I have sent a request for an HTML page, so the response is expected to contain the HTML file. Now let's move on to the browser and see if practically these things are happening. So what I have done is I'm going to like reload this page. I have just opened this DevTools. The shortcut is press F12 on the browser. So I am going to refresh this page. And so the list you see at the bottom in the network tab, we need to go in the DevTools. And if you see, these are the requests that are sent by this page. So for example, let's see a request for JavaScript. So here if you see, the request was for prompt.js and the response is the JavaScript file. Similarly, let's look at some image file also. For example, this JPG. Let me click on this. So here, if you see, the request is for jobskibart.com/logo slash this ibm.jpg, which is a GET request. Let us look at some, yes, this one, which also has a query string. So let me click on this. Now see, the URL is http colon double slash. So it is HTTP, not HTTPS. Double slash is the separator. Which server we are trying to hit? Jobskibart.com. Path and resource is index.php. So here we do not have anything in the path. Possible reason is that this file is present in the root folder itself and there is no subfolder present on this server. So that is why index.php. Question mark says on the right side there will be a query string. And in the query string, we have single parameter where here it is SID equal to the value of SID. What is the type of request? It is the get method. Now let us see let us see request. The format we discussed is the same. First line see request method, URL which contains the path index.php question mark SID and the protocol version. Then the header field start, next line, host, jobskibart.com, connection, keep alive, pragma, cache control. So there are multiple header fields that are passed depending on what is the configuration done. Some cookies are also getting passed here. So this is the information for the request that we discussed. So this is the format for request. When we record these flows in the JMeter, LoadRunner, NeoLoad, OpenSTA, whichever tool, we need to modify these values only. In get method, possibly there are some header fields that are to be correlated or parameterized, or some session ID values or something in the query string that we need to parameterize or correlate. So we need to understand what is a query string, where are the headers, so that we are able to customize them easily and properly. This was header example. Let us look at the response also. Sorry, that was the request example. And this is the response for that page. What is the page? Index.php we have asked. So response says HTTP version 1.1, status code is 200, status message is or response message is OK. Content type text HTML. So this is response. So the browser, sorry, the server is saying the content type of the response is text HTML. So index.php is expected to contain the HTML body itself. And the server information, the server is running Microsoft IIS version 8.5 and some other information, the date, content length. This is the size of the response. And what was the type of request here? This is get. Okay. So let us see one example for post request also. The get is simple. Let me clear the data and let me search something. Let's say IBM. Now let me just scroll up here. The first request is expected to be the post request. See here, jobs के बाद index, the URL remains same, but this request becomes a post. Let us start looking at the first the request again. See, post is the method, URL, and the HTTP version, and then the header fields. Here, what is the difference thing, or what is the additional thing we expect from the previous GET request? We expect a request body also. So in this Chrome, the request body is displayed in this tab, which is called as payload. So click on payload and see. This one keyword is equal to IBM that I searched, location is equal to nothing, there was nothing I passed, and submit button name is find a job. So this is the request body for a post method request. Let us go back and see the response also. Response is HTTP 1.1 is a version. In the response, what is the status code and status message, and these are the fields that are sent by the server with the response. I hope this session was helpful and you guys would be in a better situation to understand the HTTP concepts. Do write down comments if you like this, or if there are any questions. Please mention the comments. I will definitely try to find as much time as possible and will try to respond positively. So thank you for listening. Bye bye.